With a wish for all beings to be free, I will always go for, oh, well, I just skipped all the descriptive. Some days I feel like doing that, but let's start it over. With a wish for all beings to be free, free of the constriction and contraction of held belief systems and thought patterns, free of the automatic reactivity of learned and held emotional patterns, and free of the isolation and suffering caused by distorted perception. I will always go for refuge to alive, vibrant, radiant, spacious awareness until awareness is ongoing, like the flow of a river. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, today in the presence of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, of any lineage or none, and or any time or beyond time, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all beings. As long as space remains, as long as beings remain, may I manifest in such a way to ease and dispel the miseries in the universe. Okay. Personally, from my experience, I find it very helpful to have a intention, a manlam, an intention path saying thing, a refuge intention that has meaning for me. That doesn't mean that sometimes I don't take refuge in a good book or a not so good book or Netflix, but we all know those are come and goes. So there's so many things we have the opportunity to take refuge in. Perhaps Guru Rinpoche is an essence that you feel close to. Nothing wrong with taking refuge in the essence of Guru Rinpoche or Chenrezig. Sometimes it's said that Dzogchen is the highest teaching. And then people who do Dzogchen, sometimes, some people, say, oh, I don't need anything else because I'm doing Dzogchen. Well, there might come a time when you really need something else. There may not. But I don't see a lot of point in putting limits on what I might be open to. That's just me and my experience. It's said that every soldier, when the fighting starts, or he or she gets wounded, yells for their mother. Probably not every single one. But when we're really desperate, we often try to reach for something bigger than us. Well, luckily, we are that something. But until we realize that experientially, I think a yidam or can be a teacher as long as we don't get confused with the teacher and the teacher's personality. You don't want to take refuge in the teacher's personality, almost for sure. But what all teachers point at is certainly a refuge. So it seems like today, if it's all right, always with all of you, I'd like to come from the other side, kind of Chenrezig backwards. Instead of starting with ourselves and finding something to generate open-heartedness, oh, well, let's just see what happens, whoever knows. Not me, I'm the last to know. Maybe today what I'm trying to point at, or what's coming up, is what can we lean into when everything seems to have fallen apart? Or we have one of those qualities of the human realm. If I can remember four, that'll be great. We have total confusion. And we start grasping and searching around to try to figure everything out. Anybody never have that? If I could just get the right answer here, I wouldn't be so confused. I can figure this out if I just think hard enough. And then we just start spinning. So confusion, one aspect of human realm. And it's considered to be an aspect of human realm. That's considered that human realm beings have it. So there's nothing wrong with you when you feel confused. It just isn't very useful. So confusion, self-doubt. Oh, also sometimes thought of as insecurity, self-doubt. Maybe they're different. We'll see how many I remember. Always second guessing ourselves. Did we say the right thing? Did we do the right thing? Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I didn't do something wrong. And then we start arguing with ourselves. Well, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Well, maybe you did. And we have those kinds of conversations that are so very fun, aren't they? Fear. I suspect that almost all realms have an expression of some kind of fear when, say, an antelope is attacked by a lion. I would suspect that some form of discomfort that we might label fear occurs. You've seen pictures of animals, I'm sure, when they are being attacked and the wild look in their eye. We don't have to call it fear, but something is occurring. But we humans, oh, we're so busy worrying about the fears of the future, things that are not happening in this moment, but we think they might because we think we figured out that somebody might have meant this when they said that. And if they meant this when they said that, then what's going to happen? And then we're all in a rush of fear and they're probably going to leave me and things are going to go badly, and all because we think we know what they meant by something. Well, hell, I don't know about you. I hardly ever know what I mean by something. So how the heck am I going to know what somebody else means by something? It's sometimes very comforting to remember all of us are confused most of the time. Whether it's bothering us or not is a different matter. All of us have fear of the future. Well, if you don't, do stop me. If you never worry about the future and what's going to happen. Heck, we're all really good at knowing intellectually we're going to leave this body. This body is not going to be able to last forever. And yet we just mostly ignore it, don't we? Yeah, I know I'm going to die. Yeah. Maybe that's because of a very great fear. So we're all confused. We all have fear. Do we all have self-doubt? I say yes. In my experience, the people that talk with the most certainty are often the ones with the most self-doubt. Just trying to make everything hold still. And maybe if I pretend I don't have any self-doubt, it'll go away. And I'm just going to check because, as usual, I must always forget one. Oh, come on, I know I did this. Because eventually I realized I'm going to forget them. So I wrote them down. Now, of course, can I find them? Anybody happen to remember? Should be right there. Ah, there they are. Oh, one of the big bugaboos, loneliness. Human realm. I don't know if another realm has that quality. There are very solitary animals, like their own space. But I don't think that's lonely. But I don't know for sure because I'm not all other beings. I'm human, and I do experience loneliness. Now, as we start this, and I believe I've never met anybody who doesn't, although some people will say they don't. Oh, I'm never lonely. Anybody here never, ever, ever experience what we call loneliness? Well, I just thought I should check. The really good news is, I can say from experience, though, that does not cause me to never feel loneliness. I can say from experience that loneliness, the sensation, the emotion of loneliness, is based on an illusion. Does that really help when you feel lonely? No. Do I absolutely know that down to the bottom of my being? Yes. Does that mean I never experience loneliness? No. But there's something reassuring. It is not an easy path to walk through everything. Well, if you expect something to open, then of course nothing ever does. So Chenrezig is a lovely practice. There's a book I quite like that if you are interested in exploring at all Vajrayana, the magic of Vajrayana, Ken MacLeod, very surprisingly to me, wrote a book about the magic of Vajrayana called The Magic of Vajrayana. And he opens up so much that is generally held unsaid. And he said, when I did this, I thought it was important to open this to Westerners. But I also knew if I opened it, everybody would make their own descriptions and thoughts and feelings about it. So that's on my list of text books to explore with whoever wants to. And I do ask him for permission whenever I teach anything from any of his books. And in this case, that's when he said, oh, you might as well, because now it's all out there. Everybody's going to interpret it any way they want. I have no control over anything. And your intentions are good, so go for it. So there you go. But how about we start this today maybe from a time that we recall might be happening now. It's in my refuge prayer. That we feel isolated and lonely. What do we do? In Dzogchen, we take the stories about it away, like nobody loves me, I don't have any friends, even though you know darn well you probably have a few, but they probably don't like you as much as you like them, and they're not giving you what you think you need, and all those kinds of things that arise for us humans. Uh, or I should like them better, but I don't, and they don't really love me, all that stuff. If you don't follow any of this, lucky you. And from that place, in Dzogchen, I think that's okay, we would let those stories fall away, which they will if we don't keep feeding them. It's my experience, again, personally, that those stories are running as hard as they can to protect us from feeling what we're feeling. Wait a minute, I'm going to tell stories about it. Maybe it'll distract you. It doesn't work. And we let those stories go away. And then we even take away the story of naming. I feel lonely and isolated. We let that fall away. And we just be with the experience we're having. As best we can. Even if it's for 1 minute. We be with the experience with, you can call it big mind, open-heartedness, loving presence, big you, as opposed to little you who's going, I don't like this. Doesn't matter what name, but some awareness, not just of the experience of which can be frightening, painful, all of the above, but some presence with it. And we let it be. When we start not being able to have any awareness with it, anything but the intensity of the experience, perhaps we will simply do something else. We distract ourselves all the time, don't we? Unintentionally, by habit. So maybe we can intentionally distract ourselves occasionally when something's overwhelming. In a tantric manner, or maybe we'll just start Chenrezig this way. When we're feeling that way, experience again, important to take some breaths and bring the energy down to the heart. If it's spinning around up here, we're just going to tell ourselves more stories and we're going to try to grasp something or figure something out, anything to get rid of that experience that we're, excuse me, that we're fighting so hard not to notice. So taking some breaths, we acknowledge what I'm experiencing hurts, if it does. The sensations are uncomfortable for me. And then we might think of Chenrezig. And perhaps we will have the enough presence to reach for the essence of Chenrezig as light. Doesn't have to be Chenrezig. It can be all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that ever were, ever are, or ever will be. Make it something big. That essence is always available. Most of us try to grab it or make it happen, and that generally is not successful. I want control. I want this. I want to shift this. I want this not to be this way. Instead of a type of, I could call it realization, or I could call it surrender in a form, in a way. I accept in this moment, I have no power to make this go away. And I'm not having a good time. How's that? You are the essence of bodhicitta. But most of us can't experience that all the time. So we may lean into what we imagine, whether we've felt that unconditional open love from another being. Maybe we can't find that, or we can't find any time we could say, well, maybe that was it, but I don't think so. We can't experience it. So we can invite all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to be with us and to send light rays, the sound of the mantra, the vibration of the sound of the mantra, into our heart chakra, allowing it to fill and relax with these light rays, sound and vibration. And resting for a bit. You can picture a lotus of 1,000 petals. It's a nice visualization. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to actually tightly see a lotus with 1,000 petals of light, made of light. You may just have a sense of an open lotus in your heart, made of light, sound, vibration. And the gift of the opening to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas allows that essence to flow into your heart chakra, allowing it to relax for a moment, to open into its natural state. And as you are filled again and again with this, it sometimes helps to say the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. If you're able, in that moment of uncomfortableness, overwhelmedness, if it occurs, don't force it. To offer yourself to the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas and the saints and whatever loving beings have gone before, are present now, who may arise in the future. Until you are so full of light rays. You're so full of the music of the mantra, the sound of open-heartedness, love, compassion. And you rest there for a minute. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Receiving the blessing. As you rest there, not trying to force your heart open, not trying to get rid of the experience you're having, simply inviting that into your heart chakra, your lotus, with no expectation that anything will change. Though you may start to feel a little bit of comfort, a little bit of opening to receiving that. Om Mani Padme Hum. And as you do, even if you visualize these light rays of pure, unboundaried, unconditional, loving presence, those light rays filling you until your heart, your lotus, is full of light. And the petals of the lotus automatically, organically, you don't have to make it happen, extend into rays of that light. You can't hold it all anyway. Whew, that's a lot of presence and light. And you simply let it come through and fill you, and then allow the 1,000 petals that have extended into rays of light to radiate out, touching 1,000 beings. If you want, you can imagine all the beings who are suffering in some way in this moment. No boundary of time, no boundary of space. As far as your imagination reaches, the rays of light radiate. And those 1,000 beings, for a moment, can relax completely, and their hearts can open. And as they open into the natural essence of all beings, and those petals extend into rays of this vibrant, alive light, some of those come back and fill you up again. So your heart is being filled by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and saints and any being who has recognized complete open-heartedness. And as we receive that, we recognize that, and the beings that got our 1,000 rays recognize that, and those rays come back. So many rays interconnecting, interacting, till those beings can relax. Now we have 1,000 rays of that light, including all the rays of those who have experienced ultimate bodhicitta. All of those rays going out, touching now 1,000 beings, allowing their lotus, their heart, to relax into its natural essence. Those rays of light now radiating from 1,000 beings. And at any time in this practice, we may rest. If we start thinking or getting anything, we can just rest back into the rays of light. I like to add sound and vibration. So those rays carry the sound of open-hearted, open-minded, unconditional love. And sound itself carries a vibration. And you can perhaps sometimes experience the vibration, the unseparate, beginning, unending sound and vibration of beings all connected together. Sparkly light, if you will, not spotlight light, like the warmest light you can imagine. Candlelight, starlight, whatever arises for you. And we can rest right there. All of that light, sound, vibration interacting, interconnecting, interwoven. We can give that a name of refuge, a fancy name, Nirmanakaya. If you're a visual person, you might be visualizing a web where wherever those lines of the web cross is a little node, probably of a being that thinks it's absolutely independent. And that's what's experiencing loneliness. But in this interconnectedness, how could there possibly be loneliness? You are interconnected in your heart with all the love that ever was, is, or will be. Not our sticky kind of love that we attach and we try to do something with and we limit. Unlimited openness to everything and everyone. When we rest in that refuge fully, what is there to protect? What is there to fear? It is said that in Tibetan path, that the easiest way for realization or not just falling through all of the levels of the bardo, if you practice this and you just happen to call on Chenrezig, that is the easiest path to being taken out of the bardo. Don't do it to get that. But when we experience just for a moment that unlimited, unattached, ungrabbed essence of open-heartedness, the sense of a lonely I may even seem ridiculous. Doesn't deny that we experience it. How could we, with all that light, love, vibration, sound, always present? It isn't a limitation of the universe or bodhicitta, or if you want Sambhogakaya, or any kind of thing you want to call it. It isn't a limitation of that. We are that. Every being is that. It's a limitation of our human form, our attachment to our I. You can't beat on that. You can just recognize it. Oh, yes, in this connectedness, there is no loneliness. There is no isolation. And our heart may open, wishing that all beings could have a moment of that experience. Such a powerful refuge, only arising freshly in each moment. The concept of that refuge is not the refuge. Rises freshly in every moment. And we can keep going. Thousand beings expressing, radiating out 1,000 rays of, the math is off. I've never stopped to try to figure it out, so don't worry about it. Thousand rays of light, sound, vibration, intersecting with 1,000 beings, allowing all of their hearts to open, filling each other, and onward until there are 1,000 beings, radiating 1,000 rays of, I'll say, blissful, alive, radiant light, sound, vibration. And we are that. We're being held, we're holding, and we are the act, and we are the holder. No separation in those three. And it keeps going until there are an infinite number of rays of light, sound, vibration, touching an infinite number of beings. And there is no thing, not a thing, nothing but light, radiant, warm light, sound, vibration. No one to look at the light. We are the light. No describer for just a moment, at least, if you're lucky enough to fall in, telling us what's happening. Just radiant light awareness. Us. Always present. We can call it Sambhogakaya, but why would we name it? That aspect of heart-mind shared by all form, all beings, all aliveness. And as we will pull ourselves back, we might even there have a sensation of really hard to put into words. And you won't until your describer decides they need to say something about it. Almost like the heart just breaking open. That somehow, even if we have a glimpse, even if we fall in for a minute, we run away. And our feeling for all beings, that we can't recognize that experientially in every moment, is in a sense absolutely heartbreaking. Almost like the realms of a hungry ghost, which is described as beings all around a very large table that is loaded with the most wonderful foods, the most wonderful things you can think of, but we're going with foods. And each being has a spoon. So why would they be hungry ghosts? Well, as the story goes, those spoons are so long, and obviously hands are not functional, they can hold the spoon. So long that they can't scoop something up, they can't get it around into their mouth. But if they all realized they could feed each of them together. How many of us would say, oh, no, thank you, I'm independent, I need to do everything by myself? And nobody ever thinks of, oh, hell, I'll just ask Fred over there what he wants. I'll put it on my spoon and I can easily feed Fred. That's how our isolation and suffering manifests as a hungry ghost. One of the stories. Again, not a shortcoming of whatever you want to call ultimate light, radiance, luminosity, aliveness, always present, freshly in every moment. The lack of awareness of that is in us. Not bad. We've been taught that. It's also an instinct. It's not bad. But the more we rest in these refuges as they arise for us, the more it is possible that some of that tight grasp on I am this or that, or it always changes anyway, right? May just loosen a little bit, and we may get glimpses of what all these wonderful teachers are pointing at. And we may just relax a little bit. If you absolutely knew your essence was pure light, that you have never been separate from that for a second, like a wave has never been anything but water, even though it appears different forms arise, what would you be afraid of? What would there be to protect? And how would we ever feel loneliness? You can, if you choose to do this, continue and bring all the light rays back into your own heart. But for today, I think I'll leave us in the light. As the light. With a story from a child. Some of you have heard it. Who, once he had words, started to tell me about babies. What he said was, I miss being with all the babies. I said, what do you mean? The little boy said, well, before I got in mom's belly, I was with all the babies that ever will be born or were born, or I was with them all, and it was wonderful. And I miss that. I don't see a wrong thing about that at all. Who are we to say that's not exactly what happens? So perhaps there's not a you that's ever been born. There's not a you that will die. Whatever you perceive as you has never left home for an instant. Just light, sound, vibration. Every form arising, dissolving. Even if you fall in and have that experience, will be that experience. Don't worry, you're going to grab back. You won't disappear, but if you do, you'll just go home. How lovely. Anyway, it's a pleasure spending time with you, as always. Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for us all hanging together. If you did not, none of this would be able to arise. There'd be too much resistance to it. So thank you. And, oh, I love the hearts. Thank you. And may we open to our experience. And may all beings have such opportunities. May we not grasp on and try to grab anything just for this me and try to hold on to it so tightly. I want that. You are that. May we all realize in our own time, in our own way. I will see you next time I see you. Thank you so much.